Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Off Court Connection presented by Hall Pass Media. I am your host, Payton Saltmarsh, and like every episode before we jump in, we want to say a special thank you to all the essential workers, the doctors, nurses, and everyone fighting to beat COVID-19. We can't thank them enough for their sacrifices each and every day, working tirelessly to keep us all safe. I also want to say a special thank you to all the teachers who are back at school and who are showing up and adapting to this new normal and to teach the next generation. We also want to acknowledge everyone fighting racial injustices, especially at this time, working to bring equality to our world. We hope we continue to be better as a society and get to a better place where we are all equal together. And with that being said, we would like to start the episode and bring in today's guests, Alicia Solomon and Aaron Washington. How are you guys doing today?
Hi, I'm doing
Fantastic.
okay. Yep.
Good. I'm so excited to jump in and hear all about your experiences this last week at Sports Business Classroom. It is such a unique opportunity, and especially this year because it was virtual. How did that go for you guys? How did you get involved with Sports Business Classroom?
So for me, I'd heard about it probably about 3 years ago. I listened to a lot of sports basketball podcasts, and Dave Dufour, which was one of the instructors in the course, I heard about it through him probably back in about 2017, 2018. He had a lot of high praise for the program, and I wanted to be a part of it, but the circumstances didn't really work out until this past year with the unique circumstances that the pandemic kind of presented to all of us. I saw the opportunity to jump in. And it's something that I really I was so excited to get into, and I'm really glad I did. Learned a whole lot, and everything that everybody had told us about the program was immensely true, and I enjoyed it even more than I thought I would going in. So incredible program, and I had a great time while doing it and meeting a lot of great people along the way.
Yeah. While you're at it, can you give a brief explanation of what SBC is to someone who might not know exactly what the program is?
Absolutely. So Sports Business Classroom is basically like they describe it as a college course. So if you're going into it, you have different curriculums you can jump into. And in previous years, they had a salary cap section, scouting and analytics section, and then a media section. And then this year they blended it all together. So you get a comprehensive experience of each individual curriculum, so to speak. And they had guest speakers that would come in and kind of give their take on that side of the industry, as well as give you some tips to get started in your career. If you're no matter which direction you're trying to go down, just give you a lot of great advice and really provide you with practical experience that could really help move you forward in that career and really give you a taste of what it's like to work in the NBA or just in basketball in general in one of those fields. So I really look at it as a class and as a platform to kind of get you started in a sports career.
Amazing. And Alicia, how about you? How did you get involved? Where did you hear about it?
So I heard about it last summer. I actually went to Vegas for Summer League, and I heard about it when I landed back home. And I was like, why didn't I hear about this before? But like Aaron, I heard about it through Dave Dufour, and I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for it this year. And then, of course, the pandemic hit, and so it went virtual. And so I was like, I have to do this anyway. Like, I have to figure out a way to do it because I feel like all of the topics that were being taught, it's something that I can use just in my basketball IQ or just anytime.
Absolutely. And talking about those topics, can you guys kind of give us a rundown of what exercises they provide and kind of what a day in the life is like for these students?
Wow. I mean, a day in the life it's pretty intense to kind of put it plainly. But I mean, it starts you off at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and it runs into sometimes late nights, and starts you off with kind of like an overview of the day. Larry Kuhn, one of the kind of pioneers of the program, would kind of come in and give us a little bit of insight into what we'll be doing during the day. And we just jump right in with some guest speakers. There were some curriculums like a scouting curriculum, some deep dives into the CBA, scouting, and things like that, media. They'd have a summit during the day where somebody from the industry would kind of come in and give their take on the industry. And then they'd finish the day. They'd have office hours, ask me anythings with a lot of great industry professionals. So they keep you busy throughout the day. There's little breaks built in between, but for the most part, you're going to be active. You're going to be busy. You're going to be getting a taste of everything basketball and sports have to offer. So definitely a full day, a full week, but it's totally worth it.
That's awesome. Alicia, what was it like for you? What types of things jumped out at you that you didn't know would be there or weren't expecting to be taught?
So the aspect of having a major was like the biggest thing because everything was taught at the same time. Like it didn't matter if you had applied for media or CBA or scouting, everyone was taught the same curriculum. And so we were all like immersed into just all of the topics, which I thought was like kind of cool because it was like, okay, I thought I was doing one thing, but I'm getting more than I bargained for, and I'm totally okay with that. So it was just like Aaron said, all day I was I'm on East Coast time, so it was from 11 to 11, and literally it was just all day of just taking notes, asking questions, just going throughout the courses, and it was really, really helpful.
Yeah. And what types of students are there? Do you guys get to interact with each other? How are the rooms set up virtually? How do you learn that way?
So they had it on 180 platform, and they had a networking room. So you just click on, you just say you're ready, and it would just automatically connect you with a student or actually a professor. And we had about breaks in between. So you would just go ahead and network with people, and it would have a timer on. So you would just talk to the person, kind of connect, and then get, information, and then you move on to the next person. And it was just like, just rapid pace, just going through like that. And if you wanted to connect with the person offline, then that was the opportunity to kind of just get social information and just connect with people.
That is so awesome. Even that in itself is like a whole separate thing. The networking of it all is just incredible. How did you
Yeah.
guys choose your majors? What did you choose? What were the options? And then what was that like?
So for this year is a little bit different. We didn't particularly choose a major. I know that's what they had done in previous years at Summer League. But for this year, since the circumstances were different, they kind of put us all into a one curriculum track where we each got a little part of each subject matter. But we definitely all had our niche. We all had something that we were looking to kind of look forward towards a little bit more than the others. I know for me, it was the salary cap. I heard about Larry Kuhn for years and how he built the CBA FAQ, which is an invaluable resource for people trying to learn the ins and outs of the NBA and how it operates and some of the rules. And I know some people were more interested in media and scouting and analytics, but the great part was that if you wanted to get a better feel for that, if you were geared towards more towards one subject matter than the other, you can go into office hours, you can go to Ask Me Anythings, and you can talk to those people who are experts in that field, and you can get more of a taste of what that's going to be like, a deeper dive than if you were just watching the lectures throughout the day with everybody else.
I love that. I love that you all had the same exposure to everything because that's so important. Even for me going into media, I was in sports marketing first. And so when you get exposed to all those different sides of it, it's so important. Was there anything you got exposed to or learned about that you didn't think you would and it really surprised you?
I think it was between the salary cap and scouting because my major was going to be media. So I don't know if I would have had that experience of having all of those courses handed to me in Vegas rather than having this platform and it just everything is emerged all in one. And I think it was really helpful because everything goes hand in hand at the end of the day. So it was just all the information that someone in the front office would need and the media would need and in the scouting room, like all of that is important because it makes one thing like click. So I just thought it was like really, really awesome that we got the opportunity to be immersed in that.
Yeah, Erin, how about you?
Yeah, I was kind of the inverse. I went in with I was more geared towards the salary cap, but I really gained a new appreciation for media going in. Mirren Fader was one of the speakers. She's a feature writer at Bleacher Report, and just hearing her get to talk about her experience and give some great advice, it was so cool because I've read a lot of her pieces throughout the years and other people at Bleacher Report and other notable outlets, and just getting to hear their process behind how they craft these stories and how they gather their information was so incredible. And just to see the hard work they put in and just how much they really care about the people they interview and the information they're getting was so amazing. And then also, Kristen Ledlow was a part of the course, which is cool. Just can to kind of hear her background on it. So the whole media portion was something that I wasn't really kind of going into expecting to just kind of soak it all up. But man, it was incredible. And just getting to hear that insight from all those industry professionals was, it was amazing. I love that part of it.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought up the guest speakers because that's huge. That's to have a one-on-one experience, especially remotely like this, and to still make that happen. It's just so important to hear from these people who made it and have them pass down their tips or how they went about something. Alicia, was there a speaker that stuck out to you or something someone said that really stuck with you?
So, like he said, Marin Fader definitely, like, she piqued my interest in writing because I really didn't know what I wanted to do in terms of media, but I'm definitely more interested in writing. Also, Renee Montgomery was on and Ask Me Anything, and I feel like she sat out for this WNBA season, in regards to social injustice. And I just felt like that was so powerful because not a lot of people are doing that, obviously, but it's just bringing more light to a situation that we are going through in this country still to this day. And so I got to ask her a question about that and going into companies and helping them in terms of what they're doing to kind of help that aspect in their company. So, like, totality, all of the speakers were great because it was like just a one-on-one where you're just on the video, you're connecting, you're speaking, they can see you, they can hear you, and it's like you're kind of in person, but you're not, but you're still able to connect with the person.
I love it. And now going forward, you have that relationship formed and you can reach out to these people. And sports aside, I feel like Sports Business Classroom offers you so much professionally. Is there a skill or something you learned besides like the career in sports that it really equipped you with going forward?
I think for me, it was getting the experience or getting the insight as far as the jobs go. Um, Jeff Feltz was amazing. Like, he gave some great lectures on jobs, 101, 201, 301, just getting to hear what he had to say about fortifying your resume and just getting to a point where you stand out to employers and you really have a leg up on the competition. Because as we know, the sports industry is so competitive and there's a lot of people vying for the same position. So it was just great to get that insight from him, that information, reviewing resumes with you, and just talking with you about what it can do for you as far when it comes to differentiating yourself from the others. So that was incredible. I love that part of it. Just getting my resume down a little bit better, my elevator pitch, things like that. Those are skills. I know about it, but just getting some more advice about that and a little more in-depth information on that was incredible. And I think it's really going to help me nail down a job as I go forward, pursuing a career in basketball.
Absolutely. I mean, the elevator pitch, everything. How did they really, what was his tip to stand out to these employers?
Well, he just said to be creative. That was the main thing, was to be creative and have a niche. Like, what are you bringing to the table that somebody else is not? Because a lot of these people are hearing the same thing over and over. And so what makes you stand out? And you have to be assertive in that way to kind of know, like, this is what makes me stand out and this is what I'm going to do for it. This is how I can help you in your company or your team or whatever it is that you're going to do. So I think that was like one of the takeaways, and also just building relationships. Like, just be able to say, hey, if you introduce someone and it doesn't go anywhere, at least you were able to get that time to speak with them.
I love that. Love it. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about what you were doing before Sports Business Classroom and then where you want to go now? Did it shift anything for you? Did it give you any insight to what you want to do? What have you guys been up to? And then what's your career goal, your end goal?
For me, so I work in the parks recreation sector after gaining my bachelor's degree in sports management. I've been pursuing a career in basketball for about 3 years now after graduation. And I don't think my career goal has really shifted after the course. If anything, it just kind of it gave me a greater appreciation for the work that is required to get into that field and exactly what I need to do to get there. I think that was the biggest obstacle for me. I knew where I wanted to go, but I wasn't quite sure how to get there. So it kind of laid out kind of like a path for me to follow, gave me some great tips on how to get there, some things I need to improve upon to really get to where I want to go. And I think especially, like, I like to point out the big project we had, which was doing our deep dive into scouting and analytics. We broke into teams and we got to kind of simulate an NBA franchise going into the off season. that was one big experience for me that gave me an insight into how a GM thinks, how the front office thinks, going into major roster decisions. So things like that really kind of taught me exactly what it means to be in the front office. That's kind of where I'm looking to be, is in an NBA, in the NBA front office and basketball operations. So getting to see how they think, how their mind works, was incredible. Getting to talk to GMs and having them grade our presentations. It was a little bit nerve wracking. There was some sweat definitely along the way, but it was awesome. I just loved the whole process, and it was a good kind of stress you were going through because you knew that was going to pay off, and that at the end of it, the insight and the feedback was going to be just incredible when it came to exactly what it takes to be in that role.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. It's a healthy environment to make those mistakes, but really learn and grow professionally. And I think that's what they do so well. People come in with this mindset of this is where I want to be, but I don't know how to get there. And they really outline your path for you. Alicia, I know you want to go into media and production. Was there an exercise you did that really helped you take away anything, or what stories do you have that you really learned?
So like the first day, Bo gave us an assignment to just watch Lakers Blazers game, or it was Lakers Nuggets, excuse me, and to just write a blurb about something, about what you saw. And like I said, I don't have a background in writing, so I was up like trying to rack my brain, trying to figure it out. And then I just realized literally all he said was just use the 5 W's and the H. And I was like, okay, that's something basic, but I can do that. And I kind of outlined it. And then I went through that process of just writing something. And I actually sent it to him at like 2 a.m. when I was finished, and he responded at 2 a.m. So it was kind of interesting just to know that, like, if you just like assert yourself and put your mind to it, you can honestly do what you want to do. And in terms of just having this career in media, I didn't know specifically what I want to do, but I'm definitely more interested in writing. I'm definitely interested in that aspect going forward.
I love it. This seems better than any sports class I ever took in college or took away with. I'm so glad you guys took advantage of this opportunity. It seems like it benefited you both so well. What's the next step for you?
Well, I think in the short term for me, it's just been following up with people, just expressing my thanks for how much they provided me, how much they helped me out, and kind of propelled me to make the next steps in my career. So I've been just going through that process and just letting people know what they provided to me, continuing to network with fellow students, getting to know their stories, and reaching out to them so we can help each other in certain ways, like be guests on each other's podcast and critique each other's work, and just promote each other's projects that we have going on. So that's been a big part for me. And then going forward, it's just the whole resume, the job hunt. That's always at the back of my mind, something I'm thinking about, and just looking for ways to kind of separate myself. So I'm going forward with my podcast, going forward with my website, with the advice that these guys gave to me. Jeff Siegel was one of my favorite speakers during the program, because he kind of does something similar to what I'm interested in, which is salary cap work. So he gave me a lot of great information as it pertains to kind of separating yourself. So I've really been trying to take that to heart and apply it to my job hunting process and going throughout my career. So just taking those bits day by day. It's definitely a long road. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But at the end of the day, Sports Business Classroom and these people were instrumental and just giving me the kind of information I need to take the next step, and the connections. I mean, the industry is a lot about connections, so that was huge too. So that's kind of what I'm doing in the meantime, but sights set on the future, and just excited to see what comes next.
Incredible. Alicia, how about you? What's next for you?
So I'm just going to focus on my writing. I don't know if I'm going to publish it yet, but I've just been writing more, just not only on basketball, but another passion of mine, which is sneakers, and just also trying to see what else I can do. I've been like editing videos and stuff like that. So hopefully in the future, I'll post them and, kind of get myself out there going. But for now, I'm just going to just take my time and kind of figure out what exactly it is that I want to do.
You mentioned sneakers, and I just real quick have to jump into that because I just became a sneakerhead. What do you want to do with that?
So actually, I'm looking into opening a store, but also because I've been like doing reselling, but also just sneaker writing. know that there's a lot of sneaker writers out there, and there's a lot of, sneaker culture in terms of with magazines and stuff like that. But I'm definitely more interested in just writing about it, pulling looks, like things like that. That's kind of one of my things that I do.
That is so exciting. I think there's a big space for that, especially now. I mean, with all the athletes showing their style and everything. So
Yeah.
that's really exciting. I'm excited to see where both you go. You guys are incredible. I'm so glad you took advantage of Sports Business Classroom. If you could give one piece of advice to someone thinking about it or has just heard a little bit about it, what would it be to an incoming student?
I would just say jump on it. If it's something you've even thought a little bit about getting involved in, jump right in. I have this little fortune cookie on my dresser here that I look at all the time. It says, never let an opportunity pass you by. And I saw the chance that a unique opportunity that SBC would bring forward to me, and I just jumped on it. So if anybody out there has any questions about it, just had any thoughts about jumping in, I'd recommend just go all in, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know who you're going to meet. If you're trying to get a foot in the industry, all it takes is one person. You meet that one person that can get you maybe an internship or gain you an opportunity to share your work with someone else that might be interested. So it's all about the little things. It only takes one person or one recommendation to help jumpstart your career. And that's what SBC is all about. It's help get people jobs. I mean, the lectures and everything are great, but they're really trying to move you forward in your career. That's the end goal. So I would just say jump on it if you have any interest at all. And I promise you, you won't regret it. It's going to be one of the longest but most productive weeks of your life, no doubt.
Perfect. Alicia, what is your piece of advice to someone coming in?
Life is too short. Don't hesitate on anything. If you're thinking about it, like Erin said, go for it, because at the end of the day, life is short. You don't know what's going to happen, and you just always want to put your best foot forward in whatever you want to do. And if this is something that you want to do, the advice you're going to get, the people you're going to meet, these are the top level people that are in this industry, and they are connecting you with also top level people in the industry. So if you want to put your foot forward, go for it. Don't hesitate about it. Just do it.
So good. You guys are so awesome. Thank you again for coming on today. And for everybody else, you do not want to miss all the other web shows that Hall Pass Media has to offer. You can check them out at hallpassnetwork.com. You got Basketball Jones with Mark Jones, Pickup Game with Seth Greenberg, Sports Business Classroom, of course. So you don't want to miss those. And that is all for today's episode. So we will see you guys next time on Off Court Connection.